What happened 36 years ago? Today is 4th June 2025. 36 years ago, almost all the major media headlines were full of Tiananmen Square Massacre. What happened that day? How far is the second Tiananmen Massacre from us? Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Jasper Tian. Today's video, let's talk about Tiananmen Square Massacre in 1989. Tiananmen Square, in the heart of Chinese capital Beijing, had been a place of enormous significance in modern Chinese history. For 7 weeks in the spring and early summer in 1989, it was the focus of unparalleled protests by students and workers against the political and economic system, leading to brutal government crackdown, an international condemnation of the communist regime. This event began with the death of Hu Yaobang on April 15, 1989, the former chairman and the general secretary of the Communist Party of China, who was popular in China, as he was seen as being an opponent of corruption and was more democratically minded than any other leading members of the Communist Party of China. He was in favor of great freedom of speech and press, so his death led to an outpouring of national grief, with small public gatherings arranged as a show of respect and to give people the opportunity to mourn. Soon, students began to join these gatherings in large numbers, saying there was an opportunity to put pressure on the government to reform, both political and economic. On April 17, a group of 500 students marched to the Great Hall of People to hold a small ceremony of remembrance of Hu Yaobang. The police, fearful that the marchers were intent on causing trouble, dispersed the group, which led to more students joining. The leader of the students proposed 7 demands on how China should be informed. On April 20th, the police used batons on the protesters and furious anger erupted. The next day, 10,000 students marched to the square, gathering there before it could be closed off for the funeral of Hu Yaobang, which was due to be held next day. On April 26, the state-controlled press went on the attack, accusing the students of plotting civil unrest, which enraged the students, 50,000 of whom went to the street, demanding the government retract their accusation. In the meanwhile, the students had the support of the workers of Beijing. Their demand was rejected by the government, which only agreed to talk to certain members of approved student organizations. So the protesters decided to take advantage of the fact that the leader of the USSR, Mikhail Gorbachev, would be arriving in China on May 15th. His visit generated a huge amount of international interest, meaning that large numbers of foreign journalists were present in China. This can focus more attention on reform. On April 26, a significant number of protests in Tiananmen Square also went on hunger strike, which won the support of many ordinary people who saw the students as being willing to sacrifice themselves for the good of all Chinese people. On May 18th, Premier Peng and several of the student leaders met for a televised debate, but these discussions were confidential. By now, the government controlled by Deng Xiaoping was desperate to end protest. The next day, General Secretary Zhao Ziyang, who had the same opinion as Hu Yaobang, went to Tiananmen Square and personally urged the students to end their hunger strike, hinting that there would be more chance to strive for the reform. Zhao Ziyang was soon dismissed from his position as General Secretary and was arrested at home. The next thing was a disaster. On May 20th, martial law was declared in Beijing. The military were ordered into the city, but found their way blocked by a mass of protesters. In the face of such mass arrest, the army was ordered to withdraw on May 24th. In the meanwhile, demonstrations continued. On the evening of June 3rd, the leaders of the Communist Party then decided to bring the protest to an end. They ordered the People's Liberation Army to move into Beijing. When hostile protesters set buses as roadblocks to slow the army's progress, the troops fired into crowds. Clash continued as PLA attempted clearing the street, moving up Chang'an Street toward the square, using tear gas, slow armed fire, armored personnel carrier, and tanks. Protesters who attempted to take shelter in buses were dragged out and beaten. Even students who tried to leave the square peacefully also came under attack. The square was completely cleared by 5:40 a.m. on June 4th. Although the government had ordered foreigner network to stop broadcasting in advance, there are still photos and videos split out. One infamous piece of footage in a single protester known as Tiananmen is in a column of tanks. As you know, the Chinese government soon faced international condemnation for the crackdown. This event in Tiananmen Square also led to increased censorship as the government sought to hide the truth of what they did. Unfortunately, 36 years have passed, and few Chinese people know this, especially those who were born after the 1990s. This content is strictly forbidden in China, but Jesper never give up to the government. I protest this crime and commemorate these foreign who sacrificed themselves for a peaceful country. As a result, student leaders were arrested and sent to prison. Some other student leaders were able to flee the country, and many students and their sympathetic professors were punished by being blacklisted, making it hard to get employment. Workers who participated in the protest were treated more harshly. Some of them were quickly executed. Members of the state media who had expressed support for protesters were also removed from the positions. The official Chinese government figure 241 fatalities is widely thought to be false, with other estimates of the number of people ranging from 800 to 1,000. In the same year, some Eastern European countries like Czechoslovakia built a democratic government successfully. In fact, dictatorship use ideology or economic interest or even nationalism to hide their illegal government. Back to the history, after Mao's death, nobody believed Marxism anymore. Besides, a high inflation usually between 20 to 30% in 1980s, with people's life getting more and more harder. Those events caused the Tiananmen event. Although Hu Yaoban's death is just a beginning, China took out since it joined the WTO. With the huge GDP growth during the past 2 decades, people's lives seem to be getting better and better. This delayed the reform voice from normal people. A sea change since Xi Jinping was elected to be the General Secretary in 2012. As they stretched modified the constitution for re-election forever, tension relationship between Western countries, coronavirus, and unemployment rate increased rapidly. Will the second Tiananmen event occur? Let's look forward to it. Thank you for watching today. This is a special video to commemorate the Tiananmen Square Massacre 36 years ago. The next video continue talking about Taiwan. This beautiful country is a history. See you next video. Bye.